Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time hearing about this particular story, there have been a countless amount of updates on this story, and I'm thankful that so many people took their time and spent so much energy talking about this story that came out of Las Vegas earlier this year. It was probably one of the more, how can I say this? It was probably one of the biggest stories that had to do with child abuse this year. And the nature of the story is really crazy because this child was in the biological mother's care. The biological father was in jail at the time. Mom ended up with a boyfriend directly after. Matter of fact, while she was pregnant with this beautiful baby boy that you see in the center of my screen. Then she ended up with another guy after that, which is this jerk off right here. So let me warn you guys, I'm going to give you guys some details about many of these stories that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. No, this is not the news station. We're doing this live. Please respect the show. If you can't handle that, I understand if y'all need to go get your news elsewhere. Just Google search the story, exit my video. Simple thing to do, right? Maybe not for some people. The woman that you see on my screen is now, in my opinion, she was always the start of all of these problems that happened in this story. So let me try to fast forward and tell you guys what happened. There was a little boy by the name of Amari Nicholson who was in the care of his mother. At this particular time, mom was in a relationship, if you could even call it that, with this fool right here, who just seems to be like a Billy badass, like he think he could just whoop anybody and everybody. You know what I'm saying? Definitely posed as a threatening figure to the mom. Now, why women put themselves in these positions, and yes, I said that right. You have every choice, my body, my choice. So if you choose to be with a thug and you choose to date a thug, you see the shirt, my t-shirt says, hashtag, when you date thugs, you date death. That is an AFC hashtag. Why did I create that hashtag? Because I thought it, I felt it, and I said, you know what? It seems to make sense with a lot of the stories that we've been talking about almost for 4 years now. Almost 4 years. And it seems like it makes a lot of sense that if you are going to be a single woman and you're just out there just in the dating world, you date whoever you want to. If you're putting yourself in danger, then it is what it is. Sure, life is your choice. But here's the huge caveat. When you decide to stop being single and stop thinking about yourself and bring children into this world, this is no longer a life about you. Let alone, even if you believe in biblical principle, it never should be a life about you. But let's just say outside of children, fine. But when you have children, now you have to protect your children, be there for them, and live your life to serve your children until they are able to sustain themselves, get themselves on their feet, and to be able to build and continue to keep creating a lineage that is worth something. Okay? When you choose to date, I don't think it's a good idea for you to be a woman with small kids dating a bunch of fools. Dating, really dating all together. I had a conversation with somebody about this in my comment section, and they thought I was saying, well, Jay, that's not fair that you say mothers shouldn't be allowed to date. Well, actually, I think it is. Because if you look at the numbers, all of the children that are disappearing each and every year, and I'm just speaking from the heart, we haven't even got to the story yet, so bear with me. All of the children that are coming up missing, all of the children that come up raped, murdered, stabbed, shot, killed, beat up, blunt force trauma, choked, drowned, thrown into rivers, sold into the sex trade, that is impossible to happen. And let me repeat what I just said. That does not happen if you care about your children. But take a drink to that. I'm drinking on some Bang drink and bang, because I know that was a shot to a lot of y'all's heart. I know that probably hurt you, especially if you got really thin skin. If you can't understand that this is what a man does, a father does, is we hold people accountable, including myself. That's what we do. That's what we are good at. That's in our nature, to hold those accountable. Therefore, when you take the father out of the household, you have a bunch of bullcrap and chaos going on. I'm sorry, but mothers need help. Can y'all type that in the chat if anybody believes what I'm saying? If you don't, it's fine. You don't have to type it in. I believe that mothers need help. If you believe that mothers need help, type it in the chat. Hit the thumbs up. Share this video. Let other people know that we're here talking about this, having a real serious conversation that needs to be had. Mothers need help. You can't raise children by yourself. You can't raise children with thugs in the household. You cannot raise children with men in the household who are not law-abiding citizens. You cannot raise children in your household if you have a man who ain't about shit, who brings nothing to the table except his sexual pleasures for your body. Huh? Is that pretty clear? They need help, and that help is supposed to come from the man that you procreate with, from the biological father. If you're not willing to let him help, if you're not willing to let him be a man, then why do we continue to keep putting ourselves in this position? Why do we continue to allow these men to enter our body, you accept their seeds, carry their children all the way to term, and then have the children, put them in on child support with this constant threat of financial this and financial that and blah, 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 and you ain't a man, while this fool is sitting at the house and ain't got to contribute a damn thing to your children. But he get access all day long just because that's what you want. It's a selfish mentality. Everybody understand where I'm coming from? Now, for those of y'all who are ready to hear the story, please click the thumbs up. I need to see about 400 to 600 thumbs up if we can get that cool. If not, I understand. But please help us share this, okay? The woman that you see on my screen right there is a mother of a 2-year-old boy allegedly murdered by mom's boyfriend. But that woman, let me see if I can get her face back up on the screen, because he was the subject, but we'll talk about him here in a minute. I can't talk, tongue-tied. We'll talk about him here in a minute. Let's talk about the mom, because everybody came out trying to defend her and make it seem they were in all of these Facebook groups talking about, we need to defend the mom. We don't know what she was going through. She was being abused by this man and blah, blah, blah. Do y'all know what the mom was doing while her boyfriend was arrested for what we believe to be the murder of 2-year-old Amari Nicholson? Y'all know what she was out there doing? Well, some of y'all who are responsible people who are in those Facebook groups called it out when you saw it. They actually found that that woman, if you can even call her that, had an OnlyFans page. Does that make her a bad person for having an OnlyFans? No, it does not. I think it's fine for anybody to have an OnlyFans page. Hell, if I felt like I could make some money off of selling my OnlyFans, I would have an OnlyFans page. But I ain't sexy enough to have an OnlyFans page. I don't mind that. But here's the problem. We're talking about the mentality. With all jokes aside, we're talking about her mentality. Her mentality was that after the disappearance of her son that she allegedly didn't know about, then she found out about the murder of her son. After they found his body, she turned around and was active on her OnlyFans page and was posting sexual content and sexual innuendo on her on her OnlyFans page. There's a small percentage of people out there who might think there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I do. Because if you are enticing people for sex while your kid is missing or dead, or you're thinking about how to hit your next lick, while your child is missing or dead? You thinking about how to make your next move while your child is missing or dead? Something shows me that you don't care about your child, which further points me to the point that I was trying to make in the beginning, is I believe that the mother doesn't care about her son at all. So let me tell you guys this. Mom that you see acting like she was so distraught was actually arrested on prostitution charges in Las Vegas Wednesday morning recently, according to multiple reports. How many of y'all are surprised? She wasn't arrested for having an OnlyFans page. She wasn't arrested for guys trying to holler at her. She was arrested for prostitution, specifically. That means her actions caused her to be arrested. Now, granted, I've told you guys that I believe that she was being pimped out by her boyfriend, but because her boyfriend looked like a pimp, acted like a pimp, and caused this woman during her interviews to keep her eyes lower to the ground, to not make eye contact with people, because eye contact actually shows a form of respect, which is what pimps want you to not do. They don't want you to have respect for any man other than themselves, which is why they always tell you to put your eyes down, put your head down. If y'all ain't familiar with the pimping game, right? I believe that he was pimping her the entire time. But a pimp can't have a pimp without a willing whore. You smell me? A pimp can't do what he does unless a woman agrees to do so. Again, we put the onus back on her while she's dolled up with all this damn makeup, looking like a streetwalker. Taylor Nicholson was arrested at the MGM Grand Hotel. How about that? On Las Vegas Boulevard after midnight on 3 counts of soliciting prostitution by undercover Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officers. Let me point something else out and let me prove to y'all how slow the woman that you see on my screen is. This woman has been in national headlines. Does anybody understand where I'm about to go with this? She was in national headlines. Don't you think for a little moment that while you're in national headlines, that there's a lot of smoke around you? And you know what they say about a lot of smoke being around? There's usually fire, right? Don't you think that everybody is now going to be watching your moves because they know your face, they know what you look like, they know what you're going through, and they're going to be watching what you do. You go somewhere, you are going to be recognized. Yes? You've got to be another level of stupid. You've got to be another level of dumb if you didn't realize, oh yeah, that's right. Maybe this is not the time to be doing something illegal. That's just a special level of stupid. Anyway, she was also charged with possession of a dangerous weapon identified as brass knuckles. Nicholson, who was 21 years old, allegedly discussed an exchange of money for her sexual services at the MGM Grand Bar Tuesday night. And while walking to a hotel room with 3 undercover officers, Nicholson was arrested. Hashtag fly under the radar. Thank you. But you know what? I'm glad that criminals sometimes do things in the open whenever they record their crimes, when they know that there are video cameras anywhere and everywhere. They know people can be wired and they still do what they do, because nowadays in the technology era, it makes it a hell of a lot easier for us to be able to get criminals off the street. So criminals, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being so Stupid. Three counts, 3 officers, 3 charges. Or excuse me, maybe it's 1 charge, 3 counts. The next day, on May the 12th, the missing boy's body, actually I skipped a part. Hold on, let me go back. I went a little bit too far. Her son, 2-year-old Amari Nicholson, was reported missing from an apartment complex on Paradise Road on May the 5th, only a few months ago. Taylor Nicholson's boyfriend, let me see if I can get his stupid face up on the screen. Y'all, hold on a moment. Let's go back. That individual right there, that is her boyfriend, 27-year-old Terrell Rhodes, and he was arrested on May the 11th for murder. Nicholson had reportedly left her son in the care of her boyfriend while the mom went out of town. Mom was, the biological mother of this little boy was going to go see her mom, and she left her son in the care of her boyfriend. She said she had to make an emergency trip to care for her mother in Colorado. The next day, on May the 12th, the missing boy's body was found at an apartment complex on the 400 block of East Twain Avenue. On Tuesday, June 29th, the Clark County Coroner's Office ruled that Amari Nicholson died of homicide by unspecified means. Rhodes, the boyfriend, told police that the boy had urinated in his clothing and he struck the boy 3 to 4 times in the body with a closed fist. Rhodes said after that, the boy stopped breathing. So he attempted CPR, but the boy died, and Rhodes reportedly told police that he disposed of the boy's body. Now, that's not the initial story that they got whenever they did the TV interview. So you'll have to kind of go back into the news stories and go find that story and watch the interview, because both of them lied about where the boy was and what happened. They tried to say that somebody came from the dad's side of the family to pick up the kid. Lying. It was a flat out lie. Now, Rhodes was charged with murder and 4 counts of resisting a public officer with a firearm and 4 counts of assault on a protected person with the use of a deadly weapon. And Rhodes has allegedly grabbed an officer's gun during his arrest. Now, for all of those Black Lives Matter people out there talking about, the police is out here shooting unarmed black men, and there is no way that a black man would go for a police officer's gun. There's no way that would happen. Even when we are able to show you video evidence of these fools actually doing it, sometimes you get bad body camera footage. But how about the fact that they actually caught it on real good surveillance cameras? So I'll show y'all that. But let me give you guys the fair usage, and let y'all listen to her arrest, and then we'll get back to the boyfriend. It's a whole lot to talk about. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right, let me take a quick pause real quick, guys. We are at 329 thumbs up. If we can, we want to try to reach 400. So all we need is 71 more people to click that thumbs up. That'll bring us to 400, a little bit closer to our goal. So when you guys come in, if you can, just look down and make sure you guys have already clicked that thumbs up, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let me get this off the screen. Let's get it.
Of a 2-year-old boy found murdered last month is behind bars now, and according to the county jail documents, Taylor Nicholson was arrested.
I'm sure y'all probably couldn't hear that. Let me turn it up a little bit.
Of a 2-year-old boy found murdered last month is behind bars now, and according to the county jail documents, Taylor Nicholson was arrested today on suspicion of soliciting or engaging in prostitution. This news comes as prosecutors announced they will not seek the death penalty against Terrell Rhodes, the man accused of killing her son, Amari, and hiding his body last month.
Now let me turn this down just a little bit. That's a little bit of an update for some of y'all. They are not going to seek the death penalty against the boyfriend. That was a little bit of news I didn't tell you guys about just yet, but they've already told you.
Death penalty against Terrell Rhodes, the man accused of killing her son, Amari, and hiding his body last month. He pleaded not guilty to 11 felony counts, including murder. A trial hasn't been set. It's actually set today for July 9th.
We are going to begin with a developing story at this hour. The mother of a 2-year-old who was killed back in May is now facing prostitution charges. Court records show 21-year-old Taylor Nicholson is facing 3 counts of soliciting and/or engaging in prostitution. She was arrested today and is being held on $5,000 bail right now. And we've also learned that prosecutors will not seek the death penalty for Terrell Rhodes. He's Nicholson's former boyfriend, who police say admitted to killing the boy. The district attorney said, quote, "Rest assured, my office intends to move forward and seek justice for Amari by pursuing the conviction of Mr. Rhodes on the charge of murder and ensuring that he spends the rest of his life in prison," end quote.
And the mother of a toddler allegedly killed by her boyfriend, now arrested on prostitution charges. We are talking about Taylor Nicholson, who faced a judge today. She is charged with 3 counts of prostitution and 1 count of possession of a deadly weapon. Police say she offered sex to an undercover detective and had brass knuckles with her at the time. Her boyfriend is charged with killing her 2-year-old son, Amari. We'll update you on developments regarding his charges in just a moment. After Taylor faced the charges today in court, the judge released her on her own recognizance.
Your Honor, I would ask any release be conditioned on an order out of the resort corridor.
Her next court appearance is at the end of July. Christian.
Now here's the part that's going to get a little bit crazy. This is actually the video of him trying to this is mom's boyfriend, trying to get out of the handcuffs, and this is where he grabs the gun. So I need y'all to watch this. Really pay attention to this video. Here we go. Let's get it. For all the people who say an unarmed black man would never go for a police officer's gun, I want y'all to watch this. He has the gun in his hands. Look how many people it takes to subdue that little bitty skinny dude. Four grown people for that little bitty skinny dude. The audio just cut out on this one. Look at how long this takes. He could have shot and killed everybody in that room. And I want y'all to notice that the cops didn't shoot him or pull their gun out on him. And this was a case where they had every right to do it.
This is the video.
So I want y'all to take a look at this. Here we go.
Right here, you can see this video that was presented to a grand jury. It shows Rhodes trying to kill 3 police officers in this small interrogation room. It starts with him handcuffed to a table, him trying to slip out of that cuff, and he starts crying and detectives enter the room.
I can't go back, Rhodes says while sobbing. As one detective tries to comfort him, touching his arm and back, Rhodes jumps across the table and grabs the female detective's gun. The female officer punches Rhodes multiple times in the head, trying to get back her weapon. It's a life or death fight, all out chaos as other officers run in to help.
We'll let y'all watch this again. He reached out, grabbed her gun, and took it from her. How he wasn't able to do anything, they are all very blessed.
And grabs the female detective's.
I want y'all to look at that, because this is exactly what happens in a lot of situations, and it doesn't mean all, but they would have been totally justified. Thank you for posting that in the chat. But then Black Lives Matter, when it came out and said they shot an unarmed black man, he wouldn't do nothing, he was on his way to college, we don't believe he. Then they would have built a statue for this fool and everything. They would have had his record cleared, everything.
And grabs the female detective's gun. The female officer punches Rhodes multiple times in the head, trying to get back her weapon. It's a life or death fight, all out chaos as other officers run in to help.
Drop the gun!
The female officer continues hitting Rhodes, jumping on the table to regain control.
Drop the gun! Terrell, drop the gun! You're making things worse!
It is 4-on-1, and the officers finally managed to get the gun away. They say during the struggle, Rhodes said, quote, "I'm gonna kill." Police say all of this happened after Rhodes confessed to killing 2-year-old Amari. Last month, police in the community searched for the little boy, who was reported missing on May 5th for an entire week before Rhodes was arrested and confessed. This is what he told Fox 5 days after he allegedly murdered the boy as the search was ongoing.
If anybody got him, bring him back. People is making this a finger pointing game, and this is not a finger pointing game. My son is really missing.
And at some point during his interrogation, police say Rhodes drew them this map, leading detectives to where the boy's body had been hidden all along.
All right, so let's take a closer look at that map. You can see right over here, this is Twain Avenue. This is the McDonald's, Siegel Suites, and Emerald Suites. The Emerald Suites is where Rhodes, Amari's mother, and the 2-year-old were staying. And this mark right here in the center, this black dot, that is where Rhodes says that Amari's body was hidden. Rhodes now faces a first-degree murder charge for the toddler's death, as well as multiple other felonies, including attempted murder for the 3 police officers for what happened in that interrogation room.
Now, here's what I want you guys to remember. For those who say that the cops just could have just ran out of the room, no, they couldn't have. They couldn't have just ran out of the room. Do y'all know why they should not have run out of that room? Why they should have hopped on him and tried to take the gun? Does anybody know why? When these fools get desperate enough to do anything, what do they usually try to do? They usually will try to hurt themselves. So even though he might have had their gun, they might have ran out of the room and they might have been safe, he would have tried to probably take his own life. He would have done what a coward would do and not face up to the fact that he hurt a 2-year-old child and didn't want to face the consequences of that. He would have tried to smoke himself. Exactly. Thank you. We got a couple more videos. Let's run through these real quick.
The man accused of killing 2-year-old Amari Nicholson won't be facing the death penalty. Terrell Rhodes appeared in court today. Prosecutors told the judge they will not be seeking the death penalty against him. Rhodes is accused of killing the toddler in early May while the boy's mother, Taylor Nicholson, was out of town. Rhodes reportedly beat the boy when he wet himself before hiding his body. According to an arrest report that was all laid out there, Terrell Rhodes is expected to be back in court July 9th.
I was in court today when the prosecutor basically said Rhodes lied for an entire week about what happened, but then he said he admitted to a Metro detective that he hit the boy several times, killing him, and then hid his body. Are you Mr. Rhodes? Security was tight in court after police say Terrell Rhodes fought with officers Tuesday during his arrest and briefly grabbed an officer's gun. No one was hurt. Now, many are asking why Rhodes would allegedly kill a 2-year-old boy. His mother says Rhodes, her boyfriend, was taking care of the boy while she was in Colorado. Now, there has been talk on social media that he may have beaten the boy after he urinated in his pants. Attorneys say they found soiled clothing where Rhodes lives and blood on the wall. Rhodes said nothing in court about all of this, but said plenty to me last week.
People is making this a finger pointing game, and this is not a finger pointing game. My son is really missing.
Not so, say detectives, with Rhodes now facing first-degree murder charges. He told us Amari's sister showed up to the Emerald Suites and took Amari.
And then what did you do after she left with him?
I went running around the complex, just trying to search for any type of whereabouts or if I see anything.
And Rhodes appeared to get quite emotional when I asked what he would say to Amari if he was watching or anyone else.
If anybody got him, bring him back. If anybody know anything, let us know.
Mommy and Daddy loves him, and we hope that he's okay and playing happy, and we're gonna bring you home soon.
I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, it just
And he turned his whole back.
to not have the little boy. I mean, anybody who had
He turned his whole back to the camera with his arms crossed off. Y'all know what this means if you study body language. And he turned his entire back. All the while he was talking with his head down and eyes looking down. I knew he was guilty.
as a child it would just be going, what the heck?
It's sickening. He's a little mini human. He's 2. He's defenseless and has no say, so he can't.
Back in court, Rhodes hung his head when he left back to jail.
I am going to order the defendant be detained pursuant to statute, detained without bail.
Now, during that part where Rhodes turned away from the camera, he actually left the interview. He went inside for a couple minutes. He then returned, and that's when I wrapped up that interview. Reporting live tonight at police headquarters, Joe Vigil, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
The heartbreaking news.
And if y'all did not hear, they are no longer looking at the death penalty for the boyfriend for this murder. They're looking to get him life in prison. And my question is, when do you give somebody the death penalty? When is it worth it? Because I'm going to tell you guys something. Shout out to my brother Julius Jones, and we're hoping to get justice for him still and get him off. He was moving through the process. They charged him unrighteously, blaming a murder that he didn't do on him, put him in jail, and put him on death row for an incident that caused Paul Howell to lose his life, who was a grown man in Oklahoma. And I'm not trying to diminish Paul losing his life, because he should not have lost his life. But when it came to punishment, punishing who they wanted to punish, not even who they believe did it, because I think they know who did it. I just think they just flat out, everybody just chose to point the finger at somebody else. And yes, I'm going to keep bringing this up for those who don't like it. Yes, I'm going to keep bringing this up until we bring my brother home, because he didn't do this. We're willing to put an innocent man on death row, but a man who's guilty, we're going to back off of death row and give him life in prison. And I don't understand, where's the justice in that? Because again, the point that I want to point out is the difference between an adult murder and a child murder. And it does not seem in America that we believe that children's lives matter as much as they should. Does everybody understand that simple point? It seems that they put the importance of adult lives over the importance of children's lives, and I believe that children's lives should matter first. We prioritize in America wrong. The family prioritizes wrong. The courts prioritize wrong. Parents, mothers, fathers, boyfriends, and girlfriends prioritize wrong. Schools prioritize wrong. Lawmakers and decision makers prioritize wrong. Nobody puts the children first. That's the only point that I'm making. Next video. Let's get it.
He originally was reported missing at the Emerald Suites. Police found his body this afternoon just down the street on Twain and Paradise. Let's send it to Fox 5's Maddie White, who's at the scene now. And Maddie, Amari's mom.
They probably got people in jail for life over having weed, but won't put somebody in jail for life over the murder of a kid. Really strange. That's politics for you.
Was just there talking to police.
John, that's correct. This is where police found Amari's body, and just over an hour ago, we saw Taylor Nicholson, Amari's mother, right outside of the Siegel Suites here. Officials were questioning her for about a half an hour in the adjacent parking lot right along the wall between Emerald Suites and Siegel Suites. The atmosphere was tense. Onlookers were emotional and suspicious as they watched the mother being questioned. We're working on learning the manner in which he was found, if he was buried or found above ground somewhere, but the coroner was here escorting the remains into a big white funeral home van, and a crime scene investigation unit was here too. Amari's mother could be seen looking somber as officials questioned her, but as I mentioned, onlookers, many of whom were here this morning looking for the body, voiced suspicion about the mother's apparent composure.
I'd be hysterically crying and going crazy.
He deserves to be put to rest like a normal human being and not thrown away like trash.
Now, Amari's mother did not appear to be in handcuffs, and after about 30 minutes of questioning by police, she appeared to get into what looked like a private citizen vehicle and left the scene. And I'll have more details coming up later in the show, but first,
Carrie Howard said she's a mess and hasn't been able to eat. She currently lives in Colorado. Her daughter is Taylor Nicholson, Amari's mother.
This is the grandmother.
She said both Taylor and Amari were supposed to be in Colorado. She said she is not speaking to her daughter right now. The last time they spoke was on Saturday. In her words, she's upset Taylor chose to stand by her boyfriend, Terrell Rhodes, through this investigation. Howard said she's known Rhodes' family for the past 12 years. She warned her daughter not to get involved with him. Howard said she knew Rhodes was abusive to both her daughter and grandson. She said she tried to get Child Protective Services to get involved.
I know he beat on my daughter, and I know he beat on the baby. You know, my family had called CPS. We have pictures of bruises, you know, and CPS never wanted to step in and even drug test either one of them. So, did I ever think he would actually murder anybody? No. But I'm not blown back by the fact that he did. Drugs, he's violent and he's on drugs. And, you know, so he did it because the baby peed his pants.
Howard said she bought a one-way plane ticket for Amari and Taylor so they could stay with her at least until the end of May.
Begin, though, with that breaking news on the tragic murder of 2-year-old Amari Nicholson. Police finding that boy's body in the area where he vanished. And 13 Action News reporter Astrid Mendez is live near Paradise and Twain. And Astrid, the toddler was found not far from where he was last seen.
That's right, Ross. Police said that Amari Nichols was basically last seen just very close to the Emerald Suites. And right now, that discovery and that search has been going all through around the neighborhood, specifically here at the Siegel Suites Twain 2, where we...
Okay, so some of y'all haven't seen these videos, so I'm glad I played them. This is the last one before I give my closing thoughts, and then we will talk about the other story that I have on here for Athian Rivera, and I also have a couple of bonus stories. I don't even want to call it that. Let's just say stories that y'all didn't know about, just extra stories. Let me just say it that way. But y'all bear with me. One more video, and then we'll go ahead and proceed to the next story.
Just saw recently police going back and forth in that small alley that you can see right now on your screen. They're not saying exactly where he was found or how they made a heartbreaking discovery. This is a picture of 2-year-old Amari. He was last seen alive last Wednesday. Police and Nevada child seekers spends days searching for him in this area, giving out flyers and pleading with the public. Last night, police announced Terrell Rhodes was arrested for his murder. Rhodes faced a judge today and he denied him bail. Metro says Rhodes' life.
Okay, so to answer your question, you said did the autopsy report come out? Yes, it did. It said the coroner's office ruled that Amari Nicholson died of homicide, which is something that the coroner has to provide. But the problem is that it said he died by unspecified means. So the other way that they were able to put the story together was based on what Terrell Rhodes gave them, as far as he said he punched the kid to death. So they're having to go off of his word.
For a week about covering up the murder. The district attorney said today that Rhodes ended confessing to detectives that he abused the child, hit him numerous times, causing his death. Police say a search of the residence, they found blood on a wall and soiled child's clothing. Rhodes is facing other charges as well. Police say he resisted arrest and took an officer's gun away from him. He's due back in court on Monday. And well, even though police right now, they're basically just left the scene a moment ago, we're definitely gonna be here giving you all the developments about this unfortunate situation. Just to let you know, also some people are planning a vigil at 6 p.m. And of course, we're gonna be here live with that report. Reporting live, Astrid Mendes, 13 Action News.
Just another terrible turn in an old.
Now, I do agree with you. Let me say this, because I do agree with what you're saying. I don't want to say anything that's going to cause any of them to be able to get off of this heinous thing that they did. But let me say this. I do have to agree with one of my members in the chat said the baby could have been his insurance that the mom was going to come back. So I don't know what to believe or not to believe, but the mom made it seem like she was getting ready to break up with the boyfriend. So knowing that this man has your child, then it's possible that he could have threatened to make sure that the mom was going to come back, threaten her child. I don't really know how that's going to play into this, but that might also be a sad reality of it as well. But it still doesn't make it any better. The fact that mom decided to go to the Thug Zoo and decided to go play with the Thug Lions and then leave her child inside of the Thug Lion cage. Mom is not a victim. Can we please type that in the chat? Mom is not a victim, nor was she ever. She made her choice. And when I say thug, I don't mean thug by skin color, because it's not a skin color. Thug is an action. Thug is an action. The actions of mom's boyfriend was that of a thug lion that mauled and murdered this baby for no other reason other than the fact that he was mad at the mom and he shares no DNA tie to this kid. That was selfish. It was cowardice. And the fact that that fool acted like that in front of the police and tried to grab the gun and take the coward's way out. I'm glad he survived. I'm glad the police realized that maybe we can get the gun away from him and didn't have to shoot him and kill him inside of that investigation room. That now he can actually face the music. And I hope he gets every bit of what's due to him in jail. Whatever they decide to do to him in prison, I'm all for it. Whatever that means, I'm all for it. Because I would hope that somebody would stand on justice, because people should be scared of the consequences of the actions that they take against children. They should fear that with every hair in their body and every bone and breath in their body. They should fear the repercussions when you mess with our children. 2-year-old Amari Nicholson could not speak for himself, nor could he defend himself against the tyranny of his mother and her mother's boyfriend. And I think the fact that the mother being arrested for prostitution just adds more insult to the already existing injuries. She is a horrible person, and she should no longer be allowed to have children. What do we call that in the AFC? Hashtag TTO and TTT. They do not deserve reproductive rights. I think that should be a mandatory law in America. When you are found to be an incompetent human being to be around children, care for children, that you put them at a great risk, I think you should have your reproductive rights taken as well as your freedom. That little boy deserves justice, and the fact that we're already losing an uphill battle, that they're talking about taking the death penalty off the table, is just beyond me. If you're going to have the death penalty, if he doesn't deserve it, then why do we even have it? For who? For what? What's more worse than taking the fruit of our country, the most precious ones, the innocent ones, those who can't speak for themselves, those who can't defend themselves, and those who depend on us for everything that they get, our children? If we're not going to stand up for them in the grandest way, then there really is no real justice in America if we're not going to go get justice for our babies first. I want a solo shot of this baby by himself. Let me see if I can find it. That's probably my favorite picture of Amari, young Prince, R.I.P. He deserves so much better. Hopefully by the time we bring you guys the final report, that both mom and boyfriend will be doing a whole lot of time in prison, because they're just absolutely detestable people. All right, I'm DJ Just J. We're the AFC, where we advocate for children first. Thank you for listening with an open mind and an open heart. Thank you. We got three more stories to tell y'all if y'all have time. Do y'all have time for 3 more stories? Ladies and gentlemen, Nancy Britt in the chat asked, what does TTT stand for? Nancy Britt asked, what does TTT and TTO stand for? Because y'all know I can't say it while we're live anymore. Can y'all let her know what TTT and TTO stands for? Anybody in the chat want to volunteer to let her know what that stands for? Since I can't say it anymore without getting flagged. Let me bring my next story up real quick. Let me go ahead and get this up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're up to 452 thumbs up. Where I'm hoping to try to get to is 600 before the end of the night. So we're 148 short. Now, how I did that math in my head so quick, knowing I'm not good at math is an amazing thing. We need 148 more people to click that thumbs up. So if y'all would do that for me, help share these stories and let more people know that we're here talking about it, okay? Let me bring up my next story. Y'all see what, did you see what it means? Nancy Britt? she's laughing. But I'm serious though. It's not a funny matter. I'm actually really serious. Very, very serious. Let me bring up my next angel. I don't have any videos for this one because for some reason I couldn't find any news videos on him, and I know there were some that existed, but the update, it's plenty to update you guys about. So I'll just tell you. Let me get this cough drop out of my mouth. This story has plenty to update you about, so I don't even think we're going to need the news videos. Ginger Reed, if you are listening, let me say thank you to Ginger Reed. Ginger Reed donated in Venmo, showing some love, so thank you very much. We also have a second donation. Mom said, I love you, and I love you right back. Mom Fur Baby said, I love you right back. God bless you and those precious babies. Matter of fact, do y'all do me a favor? And thank you, Mom Fur Babies, if you're out there listening. She donated twice, showing some love. Always greatly, greatly appreciate her. If y'all can, do me a favor. Oh, there she is. She said, that's what it means. Thank y'all. Thank you, moms. Mom Fur Babies. That's exactly what it means. She said, good night and God bless y'all. There she is. Thank you very much. Showing some love in the super chat. She is just so amazing. I appreciate that. Y'all do me a favor. Can y'all all type in happy birthday to DJ's mom. Tell her just type in happy birthday, because today is my mom's birthday, my biological mother's birthday. Y'all show her some love if y'all would. Say happy birthday, DJ's mom, or happy birthday, mom. But today is my mom's birthday. I call her, got a chance to sing happy birthday to her, talk to my sister and my dad for a little while, chopped it up with them. So mom, if you're out there listening, I love you. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Let's go ahead and get started with our next story. Now, this story is actually going to be an update for those who are not familiar with Athian Rivera. A lot of these stories, they're really hard to keep up with. I said catch up with. They're really hard to keep up with because they happen so often. It gets really hard to figure out which story is which. And sometimes until you see a picture, it's really hard to know who we're even talking about anymore. We should not have this many child stories to talk about. The little baby that I want to talk about is this one right here. Another 2-year-old baby. He looks a lot different with the haircut. Let me see. Let me make sure I've got the right picture. Yep, sure do. Yep. So he had long hair in one picture and short hair in another picture. Even Mom Fur Baby showing some more love. She said, happy birthday to DJ's mom. Blessings. I'm really going to sleep now. Mom Fur Babies, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. What amazing support. Really, what amazing support. I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mookie Lolo. And if I missed anybody else, I want to say thank you to y'all as well. If I missed you guys' super chats. But I think I got everybody else in here. Yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about this. Here we go. Thank you, Alicia. Showing some love. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. What is that? What was that? Oh, no, no, no. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Shoot. This thing is trying to do an update. Please don't. Woo-wee. My computer almost just did a software update. Oh, my goodness. I barely caught it, too. Sorry about that. Wow. My computer was getting ready to straight shut off. Okay, let's try to get through this before my computer turns off on me. We're at 490 thumbs up, so we only need 109 more people to click that thumbs up. Cheyenne, Wyoming, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what in the world is going on with so many innocent children, so many innocent, beautiful little babies that are being treated worse than we treat garbage. And so many children are ending up literally in dumpsters. It is like the most frightening thing to have to think about. And why this is going on in America, why is it going on planet Earth at all, is beyond me. But all I know is people have to suffer, and I think we have to start making an example out of people. The beautiful baby boy that you see on my screen met his demise in a way that is just unimaginable. And what I want to tell you guys is I want to tell you a little bit about his story if you haven't heard it before. This is a slight update. That beautiful baby smile. I'm going to say some things and give you guys some details that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. This is not a news station. So if you can't handle me giving commentary on top of me giving you difficult details of this story, I understand if you need to exit the video. But for everybody else who does want to hear this baby's story and stand up for justice, disturbing details have been released in the case against the man by the name of Wyatt Lamb, who was the fool on the right-hand side, who was accused of murdering 2-year-old Athian Rivera this past February in Cheyenne, Wyoming. In March, The Cheyenne Police Department confirmed they had arrested a 27-year-old man on unrelated charges in connection to the murder of 2-year-old Athian Rivera, whose body was found in a nearby dumpster in a trash can. A child's body in a trash can. The suspect was later identified by Cheyenne police as Wyatt Lamb, again, 27 years old. On Monday, June 28, 2021, a few days ago, Laramie County District Attorney Lee Ann Manlove announced that charges were filed against Wyatt Lamb in the death of that beautiful baby boy right there. He said, I have filed charges against Wyatt Dean Lamb for multiple counts of child abuse and 1 count of felony murder. I commend the Cheyenne Police Department and the Laramie County Coroner and the Wyoming State Crime Lab for their collective efforts in this case. Manlove stated in her announcement on Monday. Now, the graphic 9-page, and let me repeat this, the graphic 9-page affidavit of probable cause obtained from the Laramie County Circuit Court reveals how the investigation into the death of Rivera led authorities to charge Wyatt Lamb with murder in the first degree, as well as 10 counts of felony child abuse. According to an affidavit at approximately 1:02 p.m. on February 19th of this year, the Laramie County Joint Communications Center received a 911 call from the mother of Athian Rivera, who reported that the 2-year-old was missing. Soon after, officers with the Cheyenne Police Department were dispatched to the scene to investigate the baby boy's disappearance. Detectives say that they had made contact with the child's mother when they arrived on the scene, and the mom stated that their apartment was on the 2nd floor of the complex and that she didn't believe that her son was wearing shoes at the time. The mother reportedly said that she didn't know how Athian could have left on his own, as he had trouble walking downstairs. You guys have to remember, he's a small baby, 2 years old. Authorities say that Rivera's body was wrapped in a blue and white fitted sheet and a blanket that was inside of 5 black plastic trash bags. That's a human baby that we're talking about. Five plastic black trash bags to conceal it and also to hide the smell of the rotting flesh. I'm sure y'all have to know that's why they use so many, that fool used so many trash bags. It was noted by investigators that the child's body was still warm at the time it was discovered. Now, the affidavit reports that the Laramie County coroner, Rebecca Reed took custody of Rivera's body. Yeah, that's coroner of Rivera's body a short time later. So that's coroner, even though they wrote it as coroner. The coroners report that they observed Rivera's body to still be warm, which usually means that it was in a short amount of time. Reed believed the time of death to be between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on February the 19th, according to court papers. Detectives say that they spoke to Rivera's mother on February 19th, 21st, and 22nd regarding the circumstances around Athian's death. Rivera's mother reportedly told authorities that she lived in the apartment with Athian, 2 other children, and Wyatt Lamb, the boyfriend, who she described as her boyfriend. Hashtag, when you date thugs, you date death. And I want y'all to remember that thug is not a skin color, it's an action. So we're calling that man a thug based on his actions. He murdered a kid, tried to hide it and lie about it. She stated that Wyatt Lamb had moved in with her family in August of 2020. The mother stated Athian was healthy on February 18th. She stated she observed nothing out of the ordinary with her son and that his condition was normal. An affidavit goes on to say that Rivera's mother told detectives that she went to work at 5:30 p.m. on February the 18th and that her shift ended at 3:30 a.m. February the 19th. And I said this before in my previous video. I'm wondering what type of work was she doing to be at work from 5:30 p.m. for your shift to end at 3:30 a.m. And I know mom probably didn't like my first video, probably is not going to like this video, but I damn sure want to know what she was doing for a living to be working them kind of hours and be going and leave her son with a man who's not qualified to be a babysitter. I don't understand why a mother who says they would do anything for their children, they would give their life for their children, they love their children more than anything in this world, but you'll leave your children with just anybody. I think any random stranger on the street would have taken better care of this child than your boyfriend just because yo ass likes sleeping with him. Huh? Just because you like sleeping with him and he pleasures your body does not mean that that man is qualified to be around children, care for children, or to be a babysitter. Why do we think that? Why do we think just because we're happy in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship that qualifies them to take care of your children who have the DNA of another man? Huh? I don't get it. Would you ever just take your children to any random daycare? It can have a sign out in the front that says we're an accredited daycare. We take care of this age of children. We have 4 out of 5 stars at this daycare. Would you just pick a daycare and be like, oh, there's a daycare. I'm going to just go drop my children off, sign the sheet, be like, all right, see you when I get off of work at 3:30 a.m. Would you ever do that? Most responsible people would at least check their babysitters out, even do a background check on the daycare facility before they leave the children with the daycare. So why is it that we'll go above and beyond to leave our children at a daycare, but you won't even do a background check on bastards like this? That dude has a rapist face. If there was ever a rapist face, if you ever put the word rapist in a dictionary and they had emojis, it would be an emoji of his face. He just looks like he just has a, yeah, I'll take it. I'll just take it. I'm not going to ask for it. I'm not going to be told no. Face looking ass. That's what he looks like. He just has the face of a person you don't trust. So if we would take that much time to vet a babysitter, why won't we vet the people who we actually have around our children? Which takes me further back to the point that I was making with the people in my comment section who come to argue me down rather than saying, you know what, DJ, you have a point. Maybe us as mothers, when we have small children, we should second guess dating. I said it wrong. Second guess dating. Instead of just giving me credit and saying, DJ, you might be right, you might have a point, maybe we should second guess dating men while we have small children. What they do is they come and argue with me and say, well, are you saying that none of us need to be dating men? Well, if you have small children, why would you? The children are too small to speak for themselves or defend themselves. Why would you be dating? Matter of fact, you also have to ask yourself this question. Why would we be so willing to have children outside of wedlock and be willing to bring any man and every man around our children, but we'll fight the biological father from having access to his kid because he missed the child support payment? Oops. Look, guys, only responsible women are going to understand this. Shout out to my ladies in the chat. Only responsible women and only responsible mothers are going to understand what I just said. You will put any man around your kids besides the biological father. And you think that's a good recipe for success? When the man looks at that baby, he doesn't see himself. He doesn't see an innocent child. You know what that man sees when he looks at that baby boy? What he sees is the face of the man that the mother just got through having sex with right before he came into the picture. But that don't register in a lot of these mothers' minds. Why not? If we're going to believe that these mothers are smart, and you should believe all mothers, and mothers are infallible, why can't we accept some common sense concepts? I could never say that again. Common sense concepts. One of them being, it's probably not a smart thing to be poking the bear. This man, why would this man care about this kid? You don't know anything about him. We won't invest a couple of dollars. We won't even go get a free background check. So not only could that man pose a risk to you, that man could pose a risk to your children. And matter of fact, what kind of work were you doing that was so important that you were out at 3 o'clock in the morning? You think she was a nurse? You think she was a CNA? I think she was a head doctor. More like a head doctor. 3 in the morning. Any strip clubs open at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning? Wonder what pole she was swinging on till 3:30 in the morning, leaving her kid with this man, while the biological father is probably sitting there waiting to go to court to be able to get custody just to get visitation. But let's move on. According to court documents, the mother advised that while she was at work, she received multiple messages by way of Snapchat from Wyatt Lamb, her boyfriend. She stated that everything seemed normal other than Lamb reported Athian had been coughing and had vomited. Rivera's mother said that she told Lamb that if Athian wasn't feeling better in the morning, she would take him to the doctor. He said he was coughing and throwing up. What type of medical training, fatherly training, do you think Wyatt Lamb had in order to deal with a child who's throwing up? What parent wouldn't turn around and immediately take their child to the doctor if their kid was throwing up, or at least get your ass home? What job is more important that you needed to be at work rather than go check on your child if they say that your child is throwing up? That don't sound like a good mom to me. But let's move on. Investigators say they were able to confirm through her time card as well as through video surveillance that Rivera's mother had worked during the time she had reported. So they looked at the strip club camera, apparently. Now, that was my little add-in, but let's move on. Rivera's mother told police that she had returned home from work at approximately 3:30 a.m. on the morning of February 19th. She informed detectives that all of her children often slept in the same bed. She informed detectives that all of her children often slept in the same bed. She informed detectives that all of her children often slept in the same bed. The question is why? Maybe I could be wrong, but that sounds like these children didn't all have their own beds. And if they didn't have their own beds, then maybe you have more children than you can actually properly take care of. She said they often slept in the same bed, and when she went to check on her children, claimed that Wyatt Lamb turned out the hallway lights outside of the bedroom, making it hard to see. Rivera's mother reportedly asked Lamb what he was doing and to turn the lights back on, in which he did. She told detectives that afterwards one of her children had begun to stir, so she left the room as to not wake them up. The affidavit reveals that Rivera's mother told investigators that on the morning of February 19th, Lamb had asked if the home had any clean sheets. Lamb allegedly told Rivera's mother that he wanted to change the sheets on the children's bed, B-E-D, singular, not plural, beds, just one bed, apparently. Change the sheets on the children's bed because Athian vomited earlier. The mother told authorities that she believed Lamb was being nicer than usual on the morning of the 19th. Court documents go on to report that Rivera's mother and Lamb left to the apartment to take one of her children to school, and the mother stated that Lamb was concerned about tardiness, so he wanted her to drive them to school. She stated that this was out of the ordinary, and on previous occasions, when the child was running late for school, Lamb would still walk her there since it was only a short distance. Police officials report that surveillance videos show Rivera's mother and Lamb both in a vehicle dropping the child off at school. The mother says that they were only gone a short time and returned back to the apartment around 8:40 a.m. on the 19th. The affidavit goes on to say that the mother later told police that in hindsight, it appears as if Lamb was trying to keep her from checking on Athian. Let's take a effing pause right there. For those of y'all who might have skipped past that part of the story, so you mean to tell me that you said you believed that your son was coughing and throwing up? I'm going to say it 2 more times. Coughing and throwing up. According to the affidavit, court documents, you said that your son was coughing and throwing up and he's only 2 years old, and he wasn't the first person you go to check on? Really, bitch? Really? Where do they make these mothers at? Why do these mothers continue to get off like this? Let me say that again. I'm going to say it a little bit quicker. Your 2-year-old son is coughing and throwing up according to what you testified and said that your boyfriend told you. You got home and he wasn't the first child you checked on. How, Sway? How? How How? Mother's Day just passed by. We just had Father's Day last weekend. If you're asking me, am I insinuating that the mother is lying? The answer is yes. Because you would then have to ask a very important question, and shout out to Tommy, who always points this out. You have to ask the most important question, which is why. Why didn't you go check on 2-year-old Athian Rivera when your boyfriend said he was coughing and throwing up, which is out of the normal? So if you have one child that is sick out of 3 children, why would you check on the other 2 and not check on the one that was sick? I would love for the people who came out and shot me all these stupid emails and all these comments in my comment section telling me, DJ, you're being too hard on the mother. You're being too hard on the mother. I don't think I'm being hard enough on the mother. I don't think the laws are being hard enough on the people who are controlling everything that happens to these children and who these children are around. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? When you put children first, common, logical, biological, godly, your spidey senses, whatever you want to call it, you can't be that level of dumb to not know that if you're going to go out and be dancing on the pole or doing your head doctor duties at 3:30 in the morning, that after you get done doing these illicit deeds, to check on the one that he told you had a problem. Where is the logic in that? Let's move on. Rivera's mother went on to tell detectives that she hadn't seen Athian yet that morning and that she believed that he was still sleeping. Just for saying that alone, you should be arrested and be in jail for 5 years. Let me read that one sentence one more time. 2 sentences. Athian Rivera's mother went on to tell detectives that she had not seen her son, Athian, yet that morning, and she just believed that he was still sleeping. She stated that she went back to sleep at around 9 a.m. How many of y'all believe that? What mother is going to go to sleep and hasn't even bothered checking on her sick, throwing up child? Won't even look at your child in the face, won't turn the light on, won't go in the room. You won't lay eyes on the kid at all. Where do they build these mothers at? The affidavit states that mom's boyfriend, that guy, told the mother that he was going to do some chores. At some point, she recalled hearing him open up trash bags while she was laying in bed. She told investigators that the trash bags they had used in the apartment were the ones she had taken from her employer and that they were stored in the kitchen cabinet. Rivera's mother reports that she had woken up at about 12:15 p.m. by Lamb, who said that Athian was missing and the apartment door was open. She observed the front door to be barely open and then began to search the apartment for the child. Whew. smells like a bunch of BS, does it not? It's starting to stink in here. She said she got up at 12:15 next to him, and he said, oh, your son is missing. The one son that she didn't bother to ever check on, and said that the apartment door was open. Now, who would randomly just walk into their apartment and take the baby? Does it happen? I'm sure it's happened sometime in history. But what's the likelihood? Remember, I'm a numbers person. What's the likelihood that that would happen? Not likely that somebody's going to randomly figure out that your apartment door is open, go in your apartment and nobody knew nothing, and take a child. And then you would have to ask yourself, why would they take this child? Even the story doesn't make logical sense. She told investigators that she began to search the outside area of the apartment complex with the help of other people. Police say that they spoke with individuals who helped her in the search. Witnesses offered that they observed Lamb was acting odd as the situation unfolded. One witness reportedly described Lamb's behavior as seeming to be worried or not seeming to be worried or flustered by the disappearance. Court documents say that Rivera's mother called 911 dispatch at around 1:02 p.m. Let me say this again. According to court documents, hashtag not my words, court documents say that Athian Rivera's mother called 911 at 1:02 p.m. What's the problem with that? Does anybody remember the story as I'm telling the story? Hopefully you didn't get too lost. What's the glaring problem with that? 1:02 p.m. Her boyfriend allegedly told her that her son was missing at 12:15 p.m. You waited 47 fucking minutes to call 911. Then you got off of work and didn't check on your son at all, and then went to bed at 9 a.m. and got up 3 hours and 15 minutes later. Then you waited until 47 minutes later, after you already told the police that your son was missing? How many people were able to put that together? The reason why I'm doing this update with no videos is because these details alone are painting a picture that I was painting when this story first came out. And I believe that the mother knew more, way more than what she was saying, because none of this story followed any level of sense. And it just so happens that us here at the AFC, those who are in the comment section of Facebook groups who are dedicated to this story, only us were able to call these things out and realize the story that they're telling doesn't make any sense. Because we've seen a number of child murders, child disappearances, child kidnapping, child abductions, and we've also seen children sold into the sex trade. Children who are sold off, given off, or whatever the case is. We compile all of that information in our heads and we look at these stories and we realize what they said doesn't even make sense as far as a pattern. The time frame doesn't add up. Your story doesn't add up. The importance of your child doesn't add up. That's real convenient that you say you came home and you didn't know nothing. Really? Y'all think that she didn't know nothing? What if the boyfriend comes out in court and he wants to save his ass or at least get his charges knocked down. And he comes out in court and he says, yeah, the mom did know and she helped me cover it up. Would y'all be surprised? Are the courts going to ignore that and act like what the mom said didn't actually make sense? Because we have enough evidence just in her words alone to prove that what she did was be neglectful at the very most. That's neglectful for you to leave your child with somebody who is not a qualified child caretaker. Then when you get home, you don't check on that child. Do y'all think that should be something that we should vote on? That maybe we can get parents arrested, give them a year in jail, give them 5 years in jail for being neglectful parents. That should be called neglect. And the reason why I think that should be on the table is because I think until you start to light a fire under some of these parents' asses, I don't think their behavior is going to change. I think that if they know that they can face criminal charges, then maybe some of these parents will make better decisions. I want y'all to remember that you heard it here first. We need stronger laws. One of those laws is neglect should get you 5 years minimum. She called 911 47 minutes later. She alleged that Lamb left once she made the call because he had an outstanding warrant. Just with that information alone right there, I could end this story and say that's enough. I've told you guys plenty. You remember when I said that mom's boyfriend is a thug? That mom didn't do a background check? Because only 2 scenarios could follow. Either mom didn't do a background check and she allowed somebody who had a current criminal history, who had a warrant out for his arrest, be around her child, which is neglect, which she should do 5 years in prison. Or option B, she knew he had a warrant out for his arrest and she ignored it, which is neglect, which should also get you 5 years in prison minimum. If you didn't know, it's because you didn't bother to find out or you didn't give a shit. Or option B, you knew and you didn't give a shit. What other options are there? I mean, come on. We can't keep making excuses for people and say, well, maybe she didn't know, DJ. Maybe she just didn't know no better. Well, it's up to us as parents to be responsible enough to be doing this research and know what our children should and shouldn't be involved in, who they should and shouldn't be around, because they can't do it for themselves. How about that for a noble idea? We should do some research before we become parents. Maybe we should have to have licenses to become parents. Take some parenting classes. Before you date, do a background check. Sign at the bottom line so we'll understand that you definitely can't say that you didn't know. They said he had an outstanding warrant. I would love to know what that outstanding warrant was for. It could have been for child rape, for all that we know. Police say that Lamb returned to the apartment at around 1:30 p.m. That's 28 minutes later, during an interview with Rivera's mother. Lamb indicated to detectives that he lived at a different residence with a roommate and confirmed that Rivera's mother was his girlfriend. The affidavit reveals that Lamb detailed to investigators his account of the previous day. Lamb told detectives that he had put Athian to bed at around 8 p.m. on that evening of February 18th. Lamb stated that he observed Athian to vomit once during the night, and it concerned him enough to call the child's mother and report it. Bookmark that. We'll come back to it. Court documents say that Lamb told authorities that he had checked on Athian between 10 and 10:30 p.m. and that he was still sleeping. He told investigators that he had returned to his residence at around 3:40 a.m. in the morning of February 19th, when Rivera's mother returned from work. Oh, this is giving me a headache. Let me say this again. I'm going to read it again. He told investigators that he went back to his residence at 3:40 a.m. in the morning when Rivera's mother returned from work. According to the affidavit, Lamb offered different details to what transpired during the morning. He stated that he had spent his entire morning at his residence and that he had been texting with Rivera's mother during that time. Lamb went on to tell investigators that he fell asleep and was woken at 11:20 or 11:40 a.m. when Rivera's mother called to tell him that Athian was missing. Lamb said that his roommate was not at home, so he was forced to call a taxi to get a ride to Rivera's apartment. He told detectives he'd gotten a ride from Classy Taxi to get to the apartment. All of this is stuff you ought to be able to look up and verify. Matter of fact, thank you so much, Chorus, for letting people know, and Miss June. If you guys would do me a favor and click that thumbs up, please help share this stream. Our goal is 600 thumbs up, and we are almost at our goal. So thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up. Thank you for those who are contributed in the super chat and also in the Cash App and Venmo and all of that other stuff. Thank y'all for just showing some love. I can't thank everybody at the moment. I will thank y'all here right as soon as we finish, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. While Lamb was still at the apartment being interviewed, detectives noted that he was looking outside of the window towards the dumpster where the body of Athian had been discovered. A short time later, Lamb appeared to faint and was transported to the ambulance to Cheyenne Medical Regional Center. Authorities say that further investigation revealed that Lamb had moved out of the residence he had claimed to be living in August of 2020. So they found out he lied about that. Court documents state that detectives could not find a Classy Taxi in town, so he lied about that. They also reported calling multiple taxi services in town who said they had not provided any transportation on February 19th to Rivera's apartment complex. Another lie. Police state that on February 19th, they secured the trash dumpster where Rivera's body was discovered. They sealed the lids and had transported it to the Cheyenne Police Department. On the evening of the 19th, investigators obtained and executed a search warrant on Rivera's apartment. During the search warrant, investigators said that they located and seized a roll of black trash bags and that they were the same color and that they had a similar plastic heavy construction as the bags that the baby was found in. Detectives go on to say that they located and seized a flat blue and white bed sheet that appeared to have the same color pattern as the fitted sheet that was found that the child was wrapped in. On February 20th, detectives conducted a search of the trash dumpster where the baby was located. The affidavit said they found black trash bags that were similar to the one Athian was covered in. They say the trash bags were also similar to the ones found of the kitchen of the apartment. An autopsy of the child was also conducted on February 20th by forensic pathologists at the Laramie County Coroner's Office. Based upon the history of the autopsy and based on the history and the autopsy findings, it is my opinion that Athian Rivera, a 2-year-old Hispanic male, died of cerebral edema, herniation due to blunt force trauma, or hypoxic brain injury, or a combination of both. It sounds like this baby was beat up. And I want y'all to remember that he continued to insist that the baby had thrown up. Well, what happens to an adult when they have a concussion? Y'all have watched enough football to watch when people have a concussion, they end up throwing up. I want y'all to remember that also. The pathologist also reported observing a pattern of injuries, of burn injuries, to the child's groin by a torch reportedly found at the scene. Jesus Christ. He burned the baby's genitals. An affidavit goes on to report in a horrific detail of a list of injuries medical experts located across his body. Examiners observed multiple abrasions and contusions on his head, chest, abdomen, and back of Rivera, as well as brain damage. There are scattered blunt force injuries over much of his body. According to investigators, forensic pathologists also located non-accidental, no accident, non-accidental thermal injuries to Rivera around his genitals. Do y'all remember earlier in this video when I accused the man and I said he has a rapist-looking face? I'm pretty sure he didn't perform these burns with the baby's clothes on. Want y'all to remember that. I don't just throw blanket accusations out there for no reason. Hey, shout out Relationship Rehab. Thank you, bro. Showing some love. Appreciate you being here, man. Examiners say that they observed multiple indications of a heat source being applied to the baby's skin across the lower portion of his body. During a second search of Rivera's apartment on February the 20th, detectives say that they found and seized a butane torch. He took a butane torch to this baby's naked body, dude. Wow. There's a special place in hell for people like this. They allege that the size and shape of the burns of the torch appeared to be very similar to the burns on the baby's body. Now, examiners advise that they believe the burns located on the child's body happened near or at the time of the baby's death. They also concluded that they located evidence that Athian had either been strangled or suffocated. The affidavit reveals on May 7th of 2021, the Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation issued a forensic report on the case. The report indicates that testing showed the presence of the DNA profiles of both Rivera and Lamb and the diaper that Athian was wearing at the time of the autopsy. Forensic analysis also indicated that Lamb's fingerprints were found on multiple trash bags that contained the body of the baby, according to court papers. How many of y'all believe that he also sexually violated this baby? Because I do. Lamb made an initial appearance at the Laramie County Circuit Court on June 29th, a few days ago, where he was read a felony charge of murder in the first degree, as well as 10 counts of felony child abuse. According to Wyoming statutes, if convicted of first-degree murder, he could face the death penalty or life in prison. Each count of child abuse carries a maximum 10-year sentence. Lamb was given a $1 million bond, and he'll have a preliminary hearing set for August of this year. I hope that the courts and the investigation do their part to not only convict this man for what he did to this baby, which is just indescribable. And a punishment is only suitable on this earth by either life in prison or the death penalty, or maybe a little street justice inside a jail. Maybe we could get a little street justice. Maybe that might happen. I don't know. But y'all know people in prison usually don't take too kindly to people violating children. But on top of that, his soul is going to have to answer for this in hell as well. I hope to be able to deliver you guys the final details, and I hope that the courts and Wyoming also does their due diligence to continue to investigate the biological mother, because I believe that her story doesn't add up either. For her time frame between 3:30 a.m. all the way up until she allegedly called 911 at 1:02 p.m. None of that makes any sense. Investigate her, convict her as well for child neglect. I'm DJ Just J, and we hope to get justice for Athian. And let me say this to this beautiful baby boy, young Prince, R.I.P. They failed this boy miserably. Thank you to everybody who has already signed up on Patreon, and you support one time a month, the same way that the channel members do. It's one time a month. Very easy. You could just set it and forget it, and it gives you some perks. So thank you to my people on Patreon, to my patrons. Thank you to the channel members. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you for those who emailed the stories. Thank you for those who are just really being patient with me and allowing me to try to help in the best way that I know how and to educate the world and save lives, okay? I love you all. Thank y'all so much. And if y'all want to show some love, all of our links are in the description box. You can get the Date Thugs, Date Death t-shirts, the Babies Lives Matter. You could also get the Babies for Benefits. That t-shirt link is in the description box, as well as we have free music from Michi. We have free music from Kurt Dog. We also have bags for kids. Check all of those links. Thank you guys so much. Y'all show our sponsors some love. Have a great night.
North Authentic Designer has some of the most glamorous and stylish handbags your girl has ever seen. So ladies, if you want to get fly, and fellas, if you want to take care of your lady, please be sure to go to www.nors915.com. www.nors915.com. That's right, www.nors915.com.
Hello listeners, come mask up with Keyline Designs, where you reap what we sow. We offer essential handcrafted face masks made with 100% cotton, equipped with a built-in filter and a slot for refillable filters. Our masks have many uses, like riding motorcycles, ATVs, while out in public places, outside exercising, lawn and gardening, and helps prevent the spread of germs. We offer bling, sports logos, monograms, many assorted fabrics and colors. We make child-sized masks starting at the age of 2. Come join us today for the launch of our new website at keylinedesigns.com. Please be sure to like and follow our page on Facebook. Our links can be found in the description box of this video. Thank you.
Check out this wonderful organization that I'm proud to be a part of. It's called Bags for Kids, BAGS4KIDS.org. And check out their website. They really help a lot of kids in foster care, giving them a permanent piece of luggage and also a lot of items that they might need so that they feel that they belong, which they do. So go to the website, bags4kids.org. So go for it. It's a great place, and they're doing great work.
Exclusive exclusive new products that you will only see on my website at www.sayitwithchess.com. These products are made special by my mother, Keyline Designs. The hoodie blankie, the face mask, as well as the 4-in-1 African head wrap. Now the way it works, it is a reversible bonnet. It has a headband that you can wear alone. It has a matching face mask as well. Please be sure to go over to our website and check out these nice new products that you will not find anywhere else.
And happy 4th of July to all of you guys. Y'all have a great night.